seagulls follow the trawl, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
And as we say now in my country, they brought the buzz and they left the buzz in front of the goal.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go, P.M.P, and it's another happy day being a Celtic fan, another weekend, another 3 points. The goal difference, believe it or not, today, we extended by another 2 goals at the top, plus 28 goal difference. It didn't feel like that at half-time. We went through the mill today. It was brilliant. It was a game that had a bit of everything. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and today we are going to break it all down, and it's with the punked-up warlord, Liam Greenlaw. What's happening, man?
Good, man. How you doing? I'm good. Nice early morning start for us, 4 o'clock. But yeah, back in time to catch the bus, and
legend.
I wasn't worried. Were you worried?
No, I wasn't as overly worried as I normally am. We'll talk about that. Richie, you're back on the bus, mate. What's happening? Oh, he's on mute.
On mute.
There you go. You're all right now.
That's me not on mute. Aye, good to be back. I'm tight and fit, ready to go. I'm with Liam on this. Wasn't worried. First half was, but wasn't worried.
No, I get that. And the face of P.M.P at the bottom right. Terry, Rob, what's happening, mate? How's you?
Yes, not too bad, Bhoycie, not too bad. I'm a little bit different than the two chaps. I was slightly worried, probably worried, first of all, when I seen that kit again. And thinking, and then you can see the goal in the first few minutes, and you're starting to think back to our only defeat of the season. At first half, I thought we huffed and puffed without really creating a big deal. Obviously, the moment just before half time made a massive difference to the game. And once we got the breakthrough in the second half, once we got that equaliser, I think there was only ever going to be one way the game was going to play out, and that's how it was.
It absolutely was, mate. It finished 5-1 today. Yet at half-time, the score was 1-0. So it just goes to show you it was an interesting game. We will start, obviously, at the beginning. But before we do that, we need to do some all that good stuff and all that, If you want to become a subscriber, hit subscribe. It's completely free. We've got, I don't even know what we're up to now. I generally can't even, I was going to take a guess there. Over 3,400 Something. Right, just to join them, hit the subscribe button. It's all good. If you want to share the page, if you want to give us a wee like, I mean, do the wee thumbs up if you're on a passenger seat right now. Absolutely, go for it. If you want to become a member, like Phil McGinley, stranger is. I became one this morning too, just for a laugh on the Sunday Blether. Ali, Gary Brown, Patrick McLaughlin, the Stoned Outlaw, Monty, Stubbsy's Horse. Loads of members. So if you want to become a member, it's completely optional. All the content is free. If you want to buy one of the Bumblebee shirts that we've done, then by all means do so. Drop us a wee mail at crookedarm@ymail.com. I can send you the bank details or just PayPal it to that. Optional postage and packaging. The cost of the shirt is £40. We're getting these very, very soon, and we are very excited about them. Don't miss out, because once we do the next order, that'll be it. These will be limited edition, I'm afraid, so you won't be able to get them again. These are done by a proper sportswear company. They are the nuts. Also, next time you watch a Celtic play, why not do it with a pie if you're watching from home? Go to piesports.com, use the code BUS1888, and you get 12.5%, a tasty 12.5% discount at the checkout. So many folk have done it, by the way. They must love us, and we love working with Pie Sports because that's what it's all about. Right, let's get into it. So it wasn't quite the start we wanted, Terry. I'll come to you first, as I always do on PMP. Penalty decision. We'll just get straight into that. Was it a penalty for Greg Taylor's handball, or was it not? I'll give you my take. My gut said penalty at the time. I watched the replay, and I think what folk aren't realising is, or maybe I'm wrong, but from my eyes, it looked like it's hit his hand when his hand's out there, then it hits his arm. The ball's connected with him twice, and it's when it's hit his hand is out there. And I think when you see it hitting the arm, yes, that's by his side, but I think when it's hit his hand, the ref's got a decision to make. I would have been screaming for that the other way around, and I'm not saying that because we won. I tweeted it at the time. I thought that was a penalty.
I think in terms of Scottish football standards and what we've seen this season, I was surprised it wasn't given straight up. I was also surprised it took so long for the play to be halted for them to look at it. From Greg Taylor's perspective, he hasn't done a lot wrong. I mean, I know his hand's up, but it's still in a natural position for what he was doing at that time. And the forward has a horrible touch. It's just one of those stupid moments. But I don't know what else Greg Taylor was supposed to do. I mean, you see players nowadays, you see defenders standing with their hands behind their backs virtually all the time because they're so scared of a handball. I thought it would be given. I was surprised the referee on the pitch didn't give it. I wasn't surprised when it was pulled back again. Do I think it's a handball? Do I think it's a penalty kick? Not what I've been used to across my life, but what I've been used to since VAR came into Scottish football, should we say. So probably on the balance, I think given what we've seen the rest of the season, it probably has to be given.
I think you're right. And see, to be honest with you, one of the arguments we're going to probably debate a wee bit more in depth is when we start going down the road of, Connor Goldson would have got away with it, but that doesn't make it right. I thought the debate we were always having was, all we want is our games to be officiated fairly. We're not looking for favours, we're looking for it to be fair. And in my eyes, I think that at either end, we would be
at the other end, you want it and you expect to get it. So on that basis, I think it's fair enough.
Aye, Liam, what did you make of the penalty decision?
Penalty, 100%, Stonewaller.
I knew you'd say that, Greg Taylor.
His arm's in a natural position, Terry. What is he? Natural position if he's Al Jolson. What are they doing up here? He's jumping into a tackle like that with his hands like this. It's a penalty, So.
What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do with your hands? You can't have them down by your sides as if you're Irish dancing. That you have to put them somewhere.
I get that, but at the same time, the rule, surely the rule is if it comes off your hand, it's a handball still. It's like, okay.
I think he's unlucky because the striker takes a terrible touch, and it's which leads to, I think he's unlucky. I mean, no blame apportioned to Taylor whatsoever. It's just one of those ones, and it's given. They score it, and we've had to suck it up and get on with it.
Richie, what camp are you in? Are you going to go as a different view, or are you in agreement?
No, I usually judge them on whether I would be screaming for it at the other end, and I'd be screaming for it at the other end. So, yeah, Stonewaller. But I can see what's Taylor meant to do is what, half a metre away. You know, to me that's more ball to hand than handball. You know, I think there needs to be a distinction between that as well. But yeah, I'd be screaming for it. So yeah, it's one of those ones. Didn't think we'd done enough to deserve anything less for that first half, to be fair. You know, the penalty was, you know, it was a nothing for them, but we didn't do enough. We seemed to labour a lot. We're very, very patient in the build-up and not a lot of end product in that first half. But
Yeah.
definitely a penalty. Yeah.
Aye. Well, there we go. Round the houses, and all four of us have decided it was a penalty. We thought it was a penalty. Stoned Outlaw's disagreeing in the comments. He says, let's all start running into the box and flicking the ball off players' hands then, because that's what happened. Maybe you would see a change in the rule if that carried on happening. I get your point. But we've got to be real here. Like, I think the argument that defeats it all is, would you be claiming it at the other end? Would we be raging if we didn't get that sort of a penalty? And the answer is, I think, undeniably yes. And folk who say they wouldn't, I'll take them at their word for it, but I don't believe them. Which is a bit of a contradiction in terms. Anyway, 1-0 then. And St Mirren look like they're thinking, we know what to do here, Terry. We've done this before. We're going to just sit right in against Celtic and we're just going to do 2 banks of 5, and you're going to need to break through us. And for a spell, a long, considerable spell, up until a moment of madness, that plan was working. We had 83% possession, I think it was, after 20-odd minutes, and we hadn't had a shot on goal. And we just were struggling to break down what was these walls in front of us. And I do feel when you've had a result against this Celtic team like St Mirren had before, they were doing it with maybe just a wee bit more belief and confidence that they would have been doing otherwise. And that was obviously playing, working for them as well. Then we get to the stage where they have that moment of lack of concentration. Now, this is why Celtic are such a deadly outfit, particularly domestically right now, because if you lose concentration against us for a split second, it is a punishment that comes. So, Terry, we're going back to VAR because Kyogo, who is at this point in time had 2 touches of the ball the whole game, he's clear through on goal because their defender has tried to do a back pass. He's completely made a hash of it. He's had a brain fart, and he's made the contact outside the box. For me, that contact extended onto either on the line or actually maybe slightly beyond it. I don't think Kyogo can land as far forward as he does in the box had there been no contact in the penalty area. So for me, that should have been a penalty. It was given as a penalty. And interestingly, it was overturned by VAR without the referee being afforded the opportunity to look at it. Now, that really, really struck me as odd because for me, that wasn't clear and obvious. It wasn't clear and obvious. In fact, it's so hard to call. We could get a split camp on it. And do you know what? I would say fair enough to the 50% that say they thought it was a free kick. So that's the definition of not clear and obvious. So therefore, if it ain't clear and obvious, what you've got to do is you've got to say to the ref, I want you to have a second look. You can't then just be overriding that. And I thought that was very odd. What was your take on it? For me, it was a penalty. I actually thought they got that decision wrong.
No, I'm the same as you in terms of I was shocked that the VAR official Andrew Dallas was prepared to take the decision completely out of the on-field referee's hands and just say no, it's outside, and not give him a chance to review it. I'm probably not even certain on it myself in my own head as to whether I think it was outside or inside. Certainly, the initial contact was outside, but my understanding of the rule is if that contact continues inside the penalty box, then you go.
The last contact.
The contact ends. I mean, I probably wasn't overly annoyed that it wasn't given. I could see why someone would give it outside. But the bit that annoyed me was that Andrew Dallas just completely made that decision on his own and re-refereed the game for, was it David Dickinson?
I pushed myself when they said the referee's name. I was at that big bargain hunt face.
Yeah,
What's happening?
They've got him from the old bargain hunt. That was the bit that annoyed me. I suppose it didn't annoy me overly that it wasn't given as a penalty, but it annoyed me that the game was re-refereed by someone else, because that's not supposed to be what's happening, and it wasn't black and white, it wasn't clear cut. You know, I'm not certain myself. I honestly can't come down on either side. I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't have changed it though. You would have went with the referee's decision then if you're the VAR
Yeah,
guy.
well, yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't have overruled the referee because I'm still not certain now. You know, at coming up to 3 o'clock, I'm still not certain, and I could watch it another 10 times and probably not be certain. So yes, it wasn't clear and obvious, I think is the overriding factor.
So, and then the bizarre bit is when it isn't clear and obvious, he still gets involved and actually goes, do you know what? I'm going to be the decision maker here. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to take the decision out of the referee's hands now. That would need to be, I would have thought, something you only ever seen VAR do if it was ridiculously black and white. Do you know what I mean? Like miles and miles apart what the decisions of the refs made to what the reality is. Don't understand how that's allowed just to go. Maybe it's in fact, no, it doesn't even make sense. No, I don't understand.
I don't recall seeing that before that scenario.
Very, very strange. EK Revolver says, I think the referee made the decision to take his word for it. But I get that. I mean, obviously, maybe he's went, all right, I'll bow to your knowledge. But when it's that borderline, surely then, if the referee's decided one way, VAR think the other, you're not just going to go, oh, well, you'll be right. When it's that borderline of decision, EK, he's surely got to go then, I'll go, let me double check that. Fair enough. If you think differently to me, I keep touching my headphone as if I'm like got a wee VAR headpiece on. But Liam, it just seems strange the way that decision was reached. Again, if it wasn't a penalty, I wouldn't have been going mad about it because I think it's so borderline. But the refs gave a decision. It's overturned without the ref being afforded that second opportunity to look at it. What's that all about?
Well, first of all, I think he gave the red before he got the VAR decision. So they were both making decisions at the same time. One had decided right away. He didn't know whether it was in the box or out, but he was ready to make the decision that was a foul and it was a red card. It was a scoring opportunity. So he got that part right. So that part is like, okay.
Did he not point to the spot as well? I think he pointed to the spot, Liam. I think the ref pointed to the spot as well.
And then it went to VAR. And I'm like, okay, well, we all saw the tug on the shirt and all that. And so, I mean, I would have been fine either way. But I think the more worrying thing is, now that we're sort of seeing that there's a hierarchy now within the way refereeing and VAR is being done. So we used to think, okay, well, we get the guy on the pitch, and then we get one in the box that helps. Now it seems like, wait a minute, if I'm a higher level referee or have more seniority as a Scottish referee than you, I'll make the big decisions. You just run about and do the optics for the fans and get a body in the suit. I'll make the decisions from here. And that's it. I wonder if that's the thing. Is it a hierarchy now where the senior refs now having more of an influence the game for an armchair rather than running about in the pitch? I mean, think how long this will extend their careers. They'll not have to retire due to fitness. They can just move into the VAR. And you'd have a
great point.
Wally Young right now refereeing,
I hadn't even thought of that though. Of course, the more important you make yourself doing it, you can extend your career when you're not on the park. I hadn't even thought of that. Dermot comes in, Richie, with an interesting point. I don't know how factually accurate Dermot is, but I will bow to his knowledge on it if he is right. He says if VAR deems it to be outside the box, then the ref doesn't get a look the same way with offsides. I find that really odd because the thing is with offsides, we use lines though. They use literally Hawkeye technology.
Yeah, I think maybe what he's getting at in this is if you freeze frame it down to the nth degree, you can see the last touch on Kyogo, and they're saying it's outside the box. So they're slowing it down. I can get where Dermot's coming from. Again, I think it was too close to call. I'm blown away that VAR is taking the decisions out of the referee's hands. It's meant to be an assistant to the referee. And I've seen it a couple of times. Somebody said they haven't seen it. I've seen it a couple of times when we've had penalty shouts and they've had a bang bang on the ear and it's no play on. I think if anything is a bit dodgy, that's not a clear-cut offside where you are using lines, the referee, I think, has an obligation to go and look at it again.
Totally. Totally. I thought that was really odd. Sharky comes in, Richie, though, and he says, guys in the panel, if we lost that game 1-0, you would all be speaking differently. I'll not read
There'd
it.
be a lot more swear words in it, that's for sure.
I think he's got a point, though. And Sharky, do you know what? That's human nature. You probably are right. You're probably right that I'd be saying that was a fucking Stonewall penalty. You can see it clearly over the... And that's, you know, I can't argue with that. And maybe the result does soften that. I've got to be honest, though, like in real time, not that my tweets are remotely important, but like I did tweet at the time, I thought the Kyogo one was a penalty, and I thought the first one...
I think it deserved
the first one was a penalty as well. But
it deserved a penalty. Too close to call, it deserved a penalty.
I agree with that. But the fact of the matter is we go in at half-time, 1-0, but they're down to 10 men, and you're thinking, Celtic can only play better second half, Terry, anyway. I was expecting the triple swap at half-time. Remember the old famous triple swaps that we're getting used to before, particularly prior to the World Cup. I thought we would have seen that. We didn't. And boy, oh boy, that paid off as well. I mean, Abada came on for Maeda. That worked a treat. Left Jota on, who I think many would have been happy to have come off. That worked a treat. But let's talk about the second goal. And this guy looks, you know, he's from Liam's territory, but he is looking more and more up for this all the time. I don't know if you've seen him, like, sort of fist pump the crowd end. I don't know why I'm doing it with my wee tiny arms. But he's built like a brick shithouse, Terry. Yeah, no messing. I love the passion. I love the aggression in it. And do you know what? See that header that he does? That was a throwback. That was on Sound of Klaxon. That was a Martin O'Neill team goal. You know, when the defender just wants it more. The attacking defender just wants it more in the opposition box. That was a Mialbi type header. Do you know what I mean? Out the road, I'm making that. And you've seen what it meant to him. Alistair Johnson is winning, you know, the fans over with absolute ease right now. And he's doing it in a completely different way. And you contrast and compare it with the nonsense that we've read from Juranovic in the last few days. Oh, I've seen they'd already signed the right back. I thought they'd do more. No. Ange got with you wanted out, son, and got his ducks in a row very quickly. Your nose went out of joint. That's what's fucking happened. And the reason Ange was so quick to act on Alistair Johnson is his characteristics, in my opinion, compared to those of Josip Juranovic that I've seen, are night and day. This guy is up for it. He's at the club he wants to be at. He's not got his eyes anywhere else. And, I was just delighted for him when he got that goal.
It's a weird one, Bhoycie, because it feels as if that guy's been at Celtic for years. And, you know, he's only been there a matter of months. And I think we forget as well about Anthony Ralston and all of this, because Johnson has just been come in and been so seamless. But I see lots of similarities between himself and Ralston in terms of the desire, the hunger. He just totally gets it. And I've seen some clips of him after the game last week, part of the celebrations, and he was quite prominent in front of the cameras in a lot of the things that were going on, and he speaks so well. He's so confident in front of the camera, but he just says the things that you want him to say, and you know you just want to roar on his every word. I'll come back to the half time. I thought the manager might try something different. I thought 84% possession in the first half, but our centre forward only gets 2 touches and no real goal threat. I thought he might potentially look at moving to a back 3 or something, bring on another creative player. I just thought we were going to have to do something to break them down here, because we didn't look like doing it overly in the first half. And with them being down to 10 men, that just took away any sort of idea that St Mirren, you know, might come out and play ball at any time in the second half. But he decided just to go for a sort of like for like, Abada for Maeda. Obviously, Abada then gets his customary goal, his customary assist. The first goal was the key one. And I know you've moved on to Johnson's one. I'll touch on that secondary. But the Jota goal, again, I think it's the second time we've said it in about...
I need to get back in the drink. Why did I just go for the second goal?
I don't know.
Why did no one tell me?
It's the second time in a month we've seen the most un-Jota-like goal you'll ever see. So he scores whilst stationary on his horse on the ground. And from that moment on, obviously we were fine. We were going to get the result. Alistair Johnson, I think Celtic fans have kind of been waiting for this Alistair Johnson goal, and it's kind of been on the cards. He's come in. He's He's done a really sound job defensively, but he has been getting forward. He's been having the odd dig, and I think it was obvious at some point before the end of the season he was going to get a goal. Now, whether or not this goal is Alistair Johnson's, I'm not brave enough to tell him it wasn't his, but I'm not completely certain he got the final touch on it. But I think what he did was he showed the desire to go and win that ball. Nobody else was going to get on the end of that. It was a nice delivery from Aaron Moy, and his presence and his determination resulted in that ball being in the back of the net. And I'm more than happy for him to chalk that up as his first goal for the club.
And Celtic's second goal, guys. You know, and I did say
And
it was
that arm,
Celtic's
you see
second
that
goal.
arm? Where did that come from? As soon as he just turned it round, it
was
like Popeye. It was like Popeye. Honestly.
It totally was. And Liam, obviously, on a personal level, you're absolutely delighted for Alistair Johnson, I can imagine. We'll talk about Jota's goal as well, if I'll just like you talk about both, right? There we go. He's full of that stuff. Molson. Canadian beer. I'm needing some of that, mate. Honestly, I can't believe I just missed a goal. Why have I just skipped a goal?
We're just doing the odd ones now. You only get an hour for the show. You can only do the odd goals.
But I mean, Jota gets this goal, which again was against the run of form that he'd shown in the first half, but that's what he's there to do. Again, a very animated celebration. Looks like someone who really cares. I mean, sometimes you get flair players that come with a big reputation, come from the bigger club, and you think, you know, are they that bored? I think Jota absolutely loves it here, and I was delighted for him getting that equaliser, especially on the back of what was a dismal first half from him. In fact, if I remember correctly, he tried to trap the ball at one point, just the easiest pass. It just went out of play before the goal as well, and I thought, he's not at it. But that goal was brilliant that he took. Good determination, quick reaction as well, and it goes in the net. And then, let's talk about Alistair Johnston again. Go for it, Liam.
Well, I like seeing our defenders get back in the box again and bully some of their players, you know, and that's exactly what happened. He put pressure on a fullback and the goalkeeper, and he came up. And whether that ball hit him off him last or no, doesn't matter. If he hadn't made that attempt to get the ball, that defender doesn't put himself in that position. So I think he's got every right to claim that goal, and that's what I'm celebrating with a Molson Canadian. So I don't know, and I think he gets that. I think you see he's really enjoying his time at this team. You know, he's starting to shit talk on the field as well, picking that up a wee bit. There's
yes,
like proper shithousery. We've not had anybody like that since Scott Brown. You know, and you know, he's got a Chris Sutton vibe to him. You know, doesn't have the experience to pull off the arrogance, but he's certainly got the cheek. You know, and he looks like he can back it up. He's a bit of
physique, right?
He's a unit, man. So, future's bright. You know, and so I think we should look more at that market. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ange come back in here again, because that is a definitive Canadian style of footballer. They're super athletic. A lot have been brought up with European coaches, South American coaches. So some of them have really different football philosophies and styles. And they play year round. And I don't know. I think it's something that we can tap into, and we're seeing the benefits with Alistair. And it's great. It's good to makes you proud from this side, you know.
I bet it does, mate. I bet it does. Richie, Alistair Johnson's goal, it just felt like when he scored that second goal, you seen the sort of everyone jumping on top of him going Raj, the stand absolutely bouncing. That feeling of, do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but it's like you almost get that invincible vibe about you. Do you know what I mean? Going, we've been utter dug meat in that first half or so it felt. And yet here we are, we find ourselves 2-1 up with 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes. And it's a right back, it's a totally, it's the opposite of these textbook goals. I mean, you know, that they were talking about last week at Hampden, they were the picture perfect Ange Postecoglou goals, you know, the cutbacks and the tap-ins after 30 passes. Do you know what I mean? That's exactly what we're coached to do. And today's showed the other side, when you've got someone who just wants that ball more. And that's what Alistair Johnston did. It was fantastic.
He slotted in really well. As I said, big unit of a boy, and he wanted that much more. I'm going to give it to him. I don't care what they say. He deserved it. And the vibe when he scored was awful, like when Starfelt got his first club goal as well. You know, everybody went to see him. Everybody, you know, even though this one meant a lot more. it had to be better after the second half. After the first half. Maeda was a waste of a shirt. I thought. I was glad that he seen that, took him off. I thought Jota could have went off as well. Glad he stayed on. You seen how much it meant to him as well when he got the goal.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, there's a real team spirit. You know, they don't seem to care who scores the goals now, just as long as they go in. I mean, personal achievements are nice, and I think you do see them enjoy them, but I think it's more an overall team enjoyment. That's something we've not seen for a long, long time, if ever. The unity that we have just now. And as you said at the top of the show, was never worried. I think even if they'd have kept 11 men on the park, we would have wore them down. We would have ground it out. We would have got it. I think our first goal was inevitable. It was always going to come. I was a little frustrated in the first half, and it wasn't because St Mirren were troubling us or I thought we wouldn't win. It was we looked very lazy. Maeda was miles off it. You know, he wasn't as buzzing about little self. And that seemed to kind of affect, I think, the whole team. There was no link-up play with Taylor on the left. And even when they swapped with Jota, I thought it just weakened the other side. I thought Jota wasn't as bad in the first half. But seeing him and Johnson celebrating their goals, I mean, it's why we're fans, isn't it?
Totally, mate. Totally. And this is the thing. Different corners of the world are coming from, you know, one for Portugal, one for Canada, and just they're all in the moment as well, just like we are. I think that's brilliant. It shows you the team spirit as well. Terry, it then becomes a comfortable afternoon, shall we say. Do you know what I mean? It became an afternoon where Lee Labada decided, sorry about the diving nonsense last week. This is what I do. I thought we always say, I feel like I repeat myself. He's so direct, though, that he did, I think it said in the first 2 minutes of him being on, he'd had more touches than Kyogo had the whole game already. And it was like, you watched him and his first thought was to buzz towards that goal and try and get either a cutback or a shot away. See, when he strikes that ball, it's not the strike's so clean, no keeper saving that. See his first touch to get it out, though. That was like Hooper against Rangers. Remember when he retired Davy Weir? That's what that was like. It was like that touch where he just eliminated the whole St Mirren defence, and then boom, see you later, mate. And again, Abada's showing like, that's the guy who's not a regular starter for us. What's his numbers like? Do you know what I mean? His numbers are nearly as good as yours, Terry.
Does it feel as if Abada's played less this season than he did last season? It does to me.
Does aye?
Aye. And I don't know if that's actually correct or not. I'd be interested to see, but it almost feels like he was first choice last season, and now he's probably not first choice. Certainly, the lineup for the cup final was probably our strongest lineup, and we replicated that same 11 today. I seen some stuff during the week there around Abada and stories that we tried to get him to sign a new deal and he hadn't, and that's why he's not been playing as much. I don't really know if that's true or not, because as far as I was aware, he was already on a long-term contract. So I don't know why we would be looking at him to sign a new one as such. But
he mischief making in that. I think
sure. He does what he does. As I say, I thought the manager might try something a little bit different just with the extra man advantage, but he went for a straight sort of like for like in terms of a wide player for a wide player. But Abada came on and he certainly made a difference. And every time he got the ball, you felt something was going to happen, which is kind of par for the course with the guy. And he took his goal really, really well. And some of his finishes recently have kind of been that first touch finish, but he had to take a touch today to set himself up, and it was an excellent touch. And you knew as soon as he went to strike it, you knew the net was going to ripple.
But that's very true. Did you see the reverse ball as well for Moy in the build up to one of the goals? I mean, that was lovely, that wee touch. But Abada can definitely, look, come away for that display that he's just made there, feeling pretty good about himself and back in the mix, Liam, for a starting role in our next match. He'll be up for it now.
You know what? It looks to me like somebody's took him aside this week. I mean, this is where you see good man management, right? I mean, last week at that point, it looked like he'd ran out of ideas, you know, diving into the box and, you know, and he could feel it. He could feel the disappointment, probably felt it for his manager, for his teammates. You know, it's like you could have made something out of that, you know, and so he's come back with something to prove. And it's looks like somebody took him aside today and said, right, here's all the stuff that you're really good at. Dry right runs, driving the defender. You go on there, with a man down, you've got every opportunity. Find that old part of yourself that makes sense. Find that part of yourself that's successful before and start doing it again. And as soon as he did it, there was the wee layoffs. He was direct. He was taking the man on. And then when he got the ball just instinctively at the 18-yard box, 2-3 steps, and what a finish. I thought it was going to be a deflection or something when I seen the replay. No, nothing but net. That was just laser tagged to the corner, precision. And you can see what a good technical player he is, you know. And so, you know, and he looks, obviously he's coachable. So, you know, if he does go, we'll get really good money for him.
His finishing's very instinctive, I think, Richie. I think he's a clinical finisher, do you know what I mean? And none more so personified by what he did today. First touch that he takes away, but as Liam said, you know, that finish into the bottom corner, that is, you know, laser tagged, as he says, when it's perfect. No keeper in the world saving it. And he's done that so many times. Present an opportunity for this guy, you know, in and around the sort of penalty box. And his finishing's very, very good. And that'll only get better, by the way, as well. I mean, again, we'd probably say it over, you know, we probably overused it. He's so young. It's a joke. What is he, 21? 22? He's, you know, frightening. Yeah, but I think he's 21. He was 19 when he signed. 21-year-old, and we'd probably judge him a wee bit harsher than you would, you know, we'd probably hold him to the standard that you would a guy in his sort of more peak years. But again, what a weapon to have off the bench.
I think we are now. I think last year he kind of snuck under the radar. He was a bit of a stealth bomber, you know, especially as he runs in for the back post. But maybe we're expecting a wee bit more of him this season. And I think the boy's delivering. You know, he's a wonderful little player. He seems to go so unnoticed, but his stats are ridiculous. You know, especially when he's getting compared to that Muppet Ryan Kent, you know, who terrorises us. I would hate for a Leo Abada to be up against us. You know, his numbers are frightening. And as you say, his age, he's got everything going for us. I've not heard anything about contract talks or anything. The only thing I could think is we're looking to improve his deal, if anything. And, you know, I'm all for that.
There was a rumour, Richie, that basically he's rejected Celtic's sort of offer of a new deal, which with 3 years left on it, midway through a title race. Is that really the time Celtic are sitting guys down to offer contracts? It just, I can't help but feel there's a bit of mischief going on there with that story. And I don't always go down that road with these stories, as you probably know if you watch the Bus regularly. But on this occasion, I'm like, why on earth would we be distracting a 21-year-old with the offer of a new terms when he's got over 3 years left in his current deal in the middle of a, you know, title race? But it's still, this is the business end of the campaign. You don't start sitting down 21-year-olds and, you know, distracting them with that sort of nonsense just now. And I find it hard to believe, Richie.
Yeah, I would think so. Probably more, you know, media mischief. You know, trying to derail the juggernaut.
Unless you buy into that theory that during Don Mackay's 2 minutes in office that he made lots of bad decisions around low sell-on fees and stuff, because Abada was one of the early signings, wasn't he? Whenever the new manager came in, but I would imagine if there was a low sell-on clause for a low release fee for Abada, that would have been triggered before now. Absolutely would have. So yeah, I'm probably in the same camp as you. It's probably just mischief making. Yeah, definitely.
And then, you know, there's jokes going on in the live chat today. You know, is Joe Hart the only first team player now who's not scored? You know, I think it's you know, Matt O'Reilly, was it the most shots he'd had on goal in the whole league? He got his goal today. Another first-time finish that was absolutely fantastic, Terry. Another well-worked move. This goal was more like, you know, a throwback to Hampden last Sunday.
O'Reilly's probably... We're probably forgetting about him a little bit, Bhoycie, because he's not... He's probably not, again, slightly similar to Abada. He's not getting the game time certainly doesn't feel as if he's getting the game time that he got last season. Last season, he was definitely one of that first choice three in the middle of the park, and Moy has ousted him from that position. And any time O'Reilly's come in, and probably when McGregor was out, even thinking back to that time, is O'Reilly stepped up to the plate that time and played in that 6 role and was really, really impressive. But I think it's almost as if he's overlooked a wee bit just at the moment. And his performances of last season, when he first came in, I mean, you look at the fee, 1.5 million, the performances that guy had for us last season, it was absolutely astonishing that we got him for that kind of fee. And, he hasn't just lost that overnight. I think Moy's performances were just so good that it left it impossible to leave Moy out, and Itati's performances were so good that it left it impossible to leave him out, and McGregor was always going to play. So I think O'Reilly can count himself a little bit unlucky that the circumstances have worked against him. But he's come on, he's got that goal. I think that was 51 attempts for him to get his goal. I'm pretty sure it'll not be another 51 before he gets his next one. I think O'Reilly's still got a massive part to play for this team, and over the next couple of months, he'll get plenty of opportunity to show us what he's got.
We're going through the gears by this point, Liam. This is our now 4th goal in the space of 16 minutes. Do you know what I mean? We're really well, up in the ante, and I think the O'Reilly goal, Liam, is the one that's the more closer to the training ground type of goal. Do you know what I mean? That we became accustomed to Celtic scoring. It was a brilliant finish for him. It's brilliant work as well, getting done by the whole team yet again. I thought by that point, though, St Mirren were on the ropes. Do you know what I mean? We were playing in a manner that's like, how do you deal with that? Do you know what I mean? Once we start going through the gears, we're impossible. And I kind of subscribe to what Richie was saying earlier. Even if they had 11 men, that was the inevitable turning of the screw Celtic were going to do no matter what in that second half, inevitably at some point. Okay, it might not have ended up 5, but the victory would have definitely been in sight. When you see some of that football getting played in the variety of goal scorers, 5 different goal scorers today, and you look at the different styles of goals, I would say the O'Reilly one was probably the most default Celtic type goal that we've seen this season, if that makes sense.
I mean, this team thrives on momentum. Once we get off and we get it going, how we struggled in the first half is because they kept disrupting all our timing. Every time we tried to build up passage of play, possession, just like getting the speed up to what we are used to playing at, they were very good at disrupting it and stopping that for lengths of time. By the time we got to the second half, when we came back on, you could see it. You could see it just all clicking into place. The passes were getting crisper. You were spreading them wider and were fully utilising that extra man. Whereas they thought they were going to go on a shell, and I think we just became more expansive. And I think that's the type of football that if you're part of a team playing that, it builds confidence. And as soon as you get going, it's like a juggernaut. You just can't stop it. And I think that's what St Mirren had as well at that point. I mean, we could have had more than one shout for a penalty. I mean, always getting pulled all over the place, and and some of the chances we missed in that as well. And my God, we could have gave them a real scalping the day. But yeah, and I think it was all. I think it was just all to the team gelling and finding that rhythm, which is so important to an Ange team.
Aye, and during every 90 minutes though that we played domestically, at least for a good spell of the game, no matter who it is we're against, Richie, we will find that rhythm. And if that means the first half's been poor, the second half won't be. We'll click eventually, and it's how you then stop us when we do. And by this point, as I say, it's 4 goals in the space of 16 minutes at this point, and just a couple of minutes before O'Reilly's goal, enter O, who gets a proper run out again today, a considerable one, not the token. Hey, love that, Liam, on the t-shirt. Never even noticed that. Well, very good, very good.
That earlier.
But Richie, O's came on. He was a proper handful. He was hard for the team to deal with. And then, of course, 10 minutes after O'Reilly's, he gets his just rewards. I was glad that he got to take the penalty. I think it's important to boost someone's confidence. I think when it's 4-1 as well, strikers need goals. It's what they thrive on. Do you know what I mean? That's him got a couple now. Not that at any point I think he'd be shy and wanting to take the penalty, judging from what I've seen so far. And he looks like a big confident boy as well, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a big unit, isn't he? My first thought when I seen the how close the penalty was, like when it first came in, it looked, keeper looked miles away from it. But from the other angle, it squeezed under his body. My initial reaction was Giamakis would have missed that. That keeper would have saved that. So I'm like, he's a big unit. He doesn't mind putting himself about. Looking forward to him scoring a few goals for open play.
I think Richie's going to be the referee's nightmare. Do you know what vibes I get off him? I don't know if you remember, there was a stat one season, I can't remember which one. It might have been Sutton's first or second season, right? But he was the most fouled player in the league, and he also committed the most fouls in the league simultaneously. I think could have that sort of vibe about him. I think you see him when he got the jersey tugged, he wasn't shy in going down. He was right to go down, by the way. Again, though, just interested, Richie, how did that take so long to get given? What's that going to, like, VAR to, like, look at 14 replays of it? You've seen it in a split second. As soon as you've seen the replay and you've seen the jersey pulled, it's a penalty, mate. That's all they need to do. I'm tapping my ear again. But that's all they have to do. Yeah, but we were just talking earlier about, if it's something not so clear cut, or maybe the referee should go and have a look at it. So I think the referee was right to go and have a look at it. Why it took him so long when the first replay said, it's a Stonewall penalty. I don't see why they need to look for multiple angles. The first one told you there was a pull on the shot. Exactly, mate. Is there an angle for that doesn't happen? If it happens on one angle, that's all you need, in my opinion. It's like they're looking for something not to give. He done a good job of breaking up the game in the first half, I thought, the referee. It seems we're not allowed to foul us just now, or we're not allowed to tackle just now. It seems that every time we put a foot in, it seems to break up our play. They blow the whistle. Silly little free kicks were given away. But no, I'm glad they gave the penalty. He should have caught it. I thought he should have caught it. The keeper should have saved it. The referee should have caught the penalty. Well, he did give the penalty, did he not? No,
after VAR.
After VAR, did he go to VAR first? Oh,
yeah,
so
he missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just wonder if his angle's been impeded, that's fine. I just think the time delay with the VAR on that one, I was like, first replay we've seen, the shot's not just been pulled back a wee bit, it's been pulled back, a clear foot. Do you know what I mean? You can see it a mile away. That's a penalty. There's no decision, there's no deliberating required. But Terry, he steps up, he takes the penalty, and when you've got that confidence, and maybe it's not the best penalty in the world, but they go in when you're just feeling the moment. Do you know what I mean? I just think he's got that. He just strikes me as one of these guys. Things will go his way because he's got that much self-belief that they will go his way. And, was it the best penalty in the world? Who cares? As long as they're at the back of the net, it doesn't bother me, Terry.
He's now got himself some blonde highlights, Russell. You've got to be a character to carry that off, eh? He's a big, confident guy. I do worry a wee bit. I can envisage some kind of scenario where he's a red card waiting to happen because he looks quite headstrong. Yeah, he looks quite headstrong. He looks as if he wants. At the minute he's getting, what's he getting? Somewhere between 10 and 25 minutes per game kind of thing when he's not starting. He wants to be remembered for something, and it's either going to be scoring a goal or it might be putting the feet into somebody. I just think he's just got that little bit of volatility about him right now, and no, I like the look of him. I think he's going to be a character for us. I think he's going to be one of those guys. When he comes on, you're going to be in the edge of your seat because something's going to happen. He's going to give one of those, he's going to do like a big 2-footy challenge, both feet off the ground, right? Red card and turn around with a big innocent face. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? Who, me?
I could just see it a mile off. But do you know what? I think, Liam, this team, if there was, this is not a criticism, how do I pitch this without sounding negative? But if ever there was a characteristic that maybe it doesn't have enough of, I think it's devilment. And I actually happen to think maybe this is something that Postecoglou's identified. What were we just talking about 10, 15 minutes ago about Alistair Johnston? You look at him, he likes to put himself about a bit in a completely different way to what Juranovic would. And you, as you said, bit of shithousery with him, mouthing off at opponents, giving them baffled looks, you know what I mean? Chest puffed out. Brings a lot of that sort of to the table as well. So maybe this is going to be, you know, the new attitude sort of from some of these Celtic players that maybe we've not seen. I think Ange has brought in a hell of a lot of technicians, brilliant footballers that solely focus on what they can do with the ball at their feet. And now we've got guys that, yes, so technically are more than sound, but bring that bit of, as I say, devilment to the equation as well.
I think what we're seeing now is fine-tuning. You're seeing the character immersed with the talent, and you can see that Ange is getting closer and closer to finding that perfect fit, you know, where he might have, like, you know, 60-30, you know, 60-40 in one case, or, you know, 60-30-10 in different attributes. He's putting together those perfect players in the perfect position. And now I think what he's doing, yeah, he's building character to the team. And see, right now, he gives me those Bobo's gonna get you vibes. You know, O's gonna get you. But is it right now that you're not gonna mess with him? And I think that's part of the identity, and I like that. And it will give us, you know, as a fan, you want characters. You know, that's why I could never like guys like Ryan Christie and stuff like that, or Stuart Armstrong. They didn't have any character. You know, like a Bertie Auld or a Jimmy Johnson or a, you know, like the, you know, Paulo Di Canio, or, you know, guys that Larson, guys that have came through the hoops that had, you know, character and stuff to their game, more than just like being a good technician. And I'm thinking, I mean, look at Ange's character this week. I mean, that whole thing with Ali McCoist was, Ali, will you give me a lift back to Parkhead, because everybody's offering him to drive anytime there's a job offer. You know, so you can see Ange has got that big a character. So now maybe we're getting a wee bit of that shithousery about in the team as well. You know, so I'm liking it.
Terry, Ange definitely has a bit of character about him, doesn't he? Because poor Cameron Carter-Vickers he didn't know what to do. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip of Jimmy Bullard with Duncan Ferguson, right? When he's sort of like, Duncan Ferguson's punched the Wigan goalkeeper, and Jimmy Bullard's playing for Wigan. Obviously, there's a big melee, and he kind of just walks up beside Dunk, clearly cracks some sort of unfunny joke. Ferguson just sort of looked at him and probably told him to fuck off, right? and Bullard's like half laughing and then like and just walks away, right? Not knowing whether he should be like joking with him or whether he's scared. And Cameron Carter-Vickers, he tries this bizarre pass. It goes out to play. He's kind of laughing at first, and then it's Cam. And I'm just like, pulls this bad face at him, and then the death stare just after it. And I just thought, wow, that's a wee reminder. He's done it in a sort of banterous way, but he also left Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think, for the last 10 minutes of that game going, fuck. Do you know what I mean? Why did I do that? Why did I do that pass? He's going to go through me for that now. And I thought that was, you seen the way Ange delivered it. He delivered it a wee bit of humour. And then the wee look after that, I thought, oh, you don't know where I bet you that Cameron Carter-Vickers for that was in his head for the last 10 minutes. But notwithstanding that, I also think, behind all the banter I'm having now, what I love about that is the standards don't fucking drop because we're 5-1. That is the essentially what the message he was getting across there.
Aye, absolutely. It was a moment of pure comedy, but there was also a serious side to it as well. And the manager just wasn't letting it go just because we were 5-1 up. He was making sure that Carter-Vickers knew that pass was awful. And I think the commentator summed it up as well. The commentator said there's a collector's item for anybody that wants to see things that you don't see normally, which is Carter-Vickers giving the ball away. But yeah, absolutely. I think it just epitomizes what the team's all about, what the manager's all about. You're 5-1 up, you're cruising it. Last couple of minutes of the game, the manager's not going to let you let up. Now, do I think it's going to go any further than that? Absolutely not. I think Carter-Vickers has got so much credit in the bank. He could give the ball away maybe once every game for the rest of the season, and he'd still be well up. But I think it was a funny moment, but it was just nice to see the manager just letting him know, I've seen that. That's not up to your usual standards. You know, tighten the nut a wee bit there.
Well, this is the thing, though, Richie. Do you know what I mean? We don't mind seeing that for the manager because it's good. But do you know what's so weird? I'm going to sound like a twat here, but I genuinely had observed literally minutes before it. We had the ball, and I thought it's interesting. Ange is still standing at the very edge of the technical area, just on his own, observing almost exactly what we were doing. 5-1 up. You know what I mean? And he's watching, making sure everything's getting done by the team to that standard. And then, of course, the ball got rotated back. Cameron Carter-Vickers tries something he shouldn't be trying. And Ange doesn't miss a trick and lets him know about it. There was a bit of humour about it. I think Terry's right. Probably behind the scenes, Ange go, did you shite yourself there, mate? Get in there and don't do that again, you twat. Do you know what I mean? I think it'll all be forgotten. I was like, the credit in Cameron Carter.
But now, listen, if Starfelt done it, I would have took him off.
Oh, well, this is it. This is it. Starfelt would get pelters for that. He was brilliant again today. But, Richie, it's good to know that no matter what the scoreline is in the park, as long as we are upholding the standards, we'll get the results. And that matters because if we're 0-0, I think as a fan, we go, just put 4 up top and just hoof it. Whereas Ange's, what he's trying to say is, doesn't matter the scoreline, we keep doing exactly what we set out to do. You stick to the game plan. You don't go off piste. I loved that today. I thought it was a brilliant wee bit of insight between the relationship as well between the players and the manager that you don't often get to see. Do you know what I mean, on the telly?
Yeah, genuinely laughed out loud when I seen the little Twitter clip, just that, and I thought it's hilarious. But yeah, so it's a human side of them. And I think Ange really wanted a performance in the second half because of the first half was it was well below par. Without, I think, anybody playing particularly badly, we just weren't anywhere at it in the first half. So I think, there was a bit of an added emphasis for Ange standing on the touchline today and making sure that, if you're not going to give me the first 45 minutes, you're definitely giving me the last 45. And I think we've seen that, But yeah, what was going through Carter-Vickers' mind? What was that ball? Normally you can tell where the ball's going. That was. I mean, I should say, me and Liam played football on mushrooms one time, and even we were hitting balls like that, man.
Oh, Terry's got the Bhoycie Bus vodka out. Terry, what's chatting to me, mate? I'm only on day 5 of my detox. I've got so many more PMPs to go watching you get bladdered, man, and I can't. Kills me. In fact, you're all drinking. What is this?
Yeah, I'm going to get another one, actually.
It's good. It's good to see. But, the thing is right now, we're in a great place. I know, Terry, there was a lot of... I knew the chance towards Mickey were going to come at some point, right? I knew they were going to come because he said that coming. Do you know what I mean? A mile off, and I don't know what the narrative is right now. Whether they're world beaters again, I'm not entirely sure. But all I can see is the league table where we've extended our gap at the top. Now, we can't do it in points if both teams are matching each other's results, but the goal difference increased yet again. Yeah, we were the ones with a game to catch up, more under pressure, I'm told. When you've only got 6 points. We were the ones away from home at the only ground where we've lost this season. They were at home against the worst team in the league by a long shot, in my opinion, the worst squad, certainly. And yet we've extended the gap further. The narrative is Celtic is a matter of when, not if, about this title.
Yep, I think, am I right in saying there's 11 games left, something like that, around 11. Actually, a nice 7 days to look forward to here. 2 games against Hearts, home during the week, away next Saturday, the cup game. So that'll be one that'll get us through the week at Works. Just looking forward to that cup game at Tynecastle. So really looking forward to that one with the league game to take care of during the week. The thing that got me this week was how the hordes have turned on Mickey Beale. They've actually turned on him. His own support base have turned on him, and I think. As much as I've sort of been tongue-in-cheek around the guy, I think for the results that he's got since he came in, for his own support base to start turning on him, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what do they expect the guy to do? He's
dug this own grave, Terry, right?
I know he has.
I've been monitoring this a wee bit, like, see when you listen to the pundits. So I'll tell you who else has turned a wee bit. I listened to the old Super Scoreboard yesterday. You know, like they do it like an hour before the kickoffs, if you like, and they started to talk about the week that was, and all of them were kind of going. I'll give you Hugh Keevan's take on it, for example, which I think is spot. He goes, the problem they're now finding is Mickey Beale is saying everything in his power these days to protect Mickey Beale. Everything is from a defensive standpoint to make him come out of it looking rosy, and that even didn't matter if it came to talking about finances, which was the cardinal sin of Van Bronckhorst after a Champions League defeat where he'd been given nothing. Yet this guy loses a League Cup final and suddenly finances are getting spoke about. Anyway, that is him completely protecting himself. Anyway, and the Rangers fans are seeing through that. They don't want to hear about what you can't do. They want to hear what you can do. And then obviously I think it was Matt Wilson, Roger Hanna, and they were all kind of saying, Mickey Beale's kind of talked himself into this. And one of the other pundits says, the problem with Michael Beale is, if I think it was the host, he says, put a microphone in front of Michael Beale, and he does talk quite a lot, doesn't he? And when you talk too much, you tie yourself up in knots, Terry. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I think he's talked himself into a hole. I really do. But the poignant thing that he said this week that I took from all of his sound bites was it sounds as if there's no more money to spend, and they've got this squad of players that quite a number of the more prominent players that play on a regular basis are about to walk away for nothing. We are about to secure another 40 million from the Champions League. We're about to get another 40 million from the Champions League. It looks the future doesn't look very bright or orange to me.
Mm-hmm. No.
Liam, I was talking about it through the week, and by the way, this is another step closer to the title, so it ramps up again. What I'm saying, everywhere they turn, there's a door being closed. This weekend, they had yet again gifted the opportunity to play first, to cut the gap, to put the pressure on us. They were the home team, we're the away team, we're playing after them. It's another weekend where that wee chink, do you know what I mean, of light just gets a wee bit darker in terms of the league. The inevitable in our mind. But if they've got any glimmer of hope, that's now slowly but surely this weekend again, just getting a wee bit more, less and less. You've also got a manager who's talked himself into driving his own fans up the wall. See, when the media are turning on him, remember this guy was the golden goose up to 2 weeks ago, and we were baffled at it. We were like, he gets more of a love-in than even Steven Gerrard got. So see, when I heard that yesterday afternoon, I was on my lunch break for work, and I had the radio on, and I thought, hold on a minute, that doesn't sound like it normally. I'm only using this one station as an example. But I thought, wow, you don't normally hear them kind of in unison, the pundits, kind of also, not just the fans, but also the pundits who are loath to do that normally, kind of get sharpen the knives a wee bit, I thought, for Beale. And I thought, do you know what? I don't feel sorry for him. I genuinely think he's talked himself into this. Now, they had the knives out for Postecoglou before he'd spoken a fucking word. That's the reality. And yet, he's managed to do everything like Frank Sinatra, did it all his own way. And he has spoke to the media with disregard at times. He spoke to them with his cough. He spoke to them with rolls of the eyes. He's laughed at some of their questions. And yet they can't find an argument to criticise him anymore. Beale's been absolute brilliant copy for these guys because he doesn't shut up. He gives them pages and pages to fill the papers with, or their websites with, Liam. And yet, I think it's got to the stage, probably because they're all scunnered because their team's getting beat. But I think genuinely, when the knives start getting sharpened for you, you've got to reflect on yourself and go, how have I arrived at this point? It's not just because you've lost the League Cup final. It's not the pish that you've spoke around it. Do you know what I mean?
I think one of the reasons is he doesn't come across as a football guy. If you look at his persona and the way it's sort of been crafted, right? He's protecting himself right now, right? So what is he protecting? He's protecting his persona and his vibe and all that. And the way he comes across is more like a politician than he does a guy that's played football or a person that's been around football anytime. He's just got that absolute reek of middle management. It's imposter syndrome. But with him, it's no syndrome. I think he's an imposter, as Chris Sutton would say. He definitely has those sort of vibes. everything's a long, rambling answer. You know, when someone's trying to fake something, you know, at a job or something like that, that's usually what happens. They go into way too more detail and discussion. When you get good at stuff, you're tactical and you're savvy, and it's like, it's bang, bang, it's quick answers and it's reactions and stuff. Everything's too thought out, too rehearsed, too cumbersome. You know, the monotone, it delivers it like, you know, a politician. You know, and last thing
Just Liam, very quickly, tell me, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but you have to do this after the show. You know Tam Seligson on Twitter? He's put like a 40-second video together of Mickey Beale talking after the last game, you know, talking about Rangers, we win the process. And then he goes, Park Life.
That's it.
It's
a work of art.
Tam Seligson, whoever you are, he deserves like some sort of like awards at like, I don't know if there'll be a Twitter awards, but for Patter alone, I had to come in there because you make me think of that monotone voice. Do you know what I mean? Genius, that Park Life thing. Sorry, Liam.
Oh, no, but I think that's part of it as well. I mean, look, he's an open goal for that sort of stuff because he doesn't have the football background and football savvy behind him that at least he gets some sort of respect. So what does he do? He comes across as middle management. And middle management, as soon as you see the flaws, as soon as they lose the position, there's no talent anymore. It's not being smart. It's not being clever. Ange is the real deal. And what you're seeing right now is, you know, people are seeing through the cracks. And I don't wish there any harm in the guy. I'd have blagged it as well if I was in that position. But definitely blagging it, you know. Ted Lasso with it. Aye, you get relegated.
Richie, it's interesting how it's all played out because it's the perfect storm for us right now. Because Ange are terrified of now. Because Ange's got in his ammunition, he's got the trophies there to back it up. He's got the big lead at the top of the table. I mean, he's sitting there right now going, bring it on. Come question me now. So he's in complete ascendancy here. And the other guy who's, you know, ran his mouth is now, if he's getting any sort of negative sort of treatment from what I do describe as a media that lean, I would say, would be putting it kindly, towards that side. And as I say, not just that, but the actual loving Beale's had has been astonishing so far. So see, when you see it turn, that's one hell of a U-turn to actually do. It's not like he's came from, see when they turned on Gio, they'd never fawned over Van Bronckhorst the same way they fawned over Michael Beale. So see, for that narrative to be turning, it's the perfect storm for us, big man.
Yeah, I think they had. I'm loving it. I mean, Van Bronckhorst was inoffensive and you couldn't really hate him. This guy just epitomises everything of those beasts across there, and I'm loving it. I mean, he can't shut his mouth, can he? I think the media had to go that. Well, they don't have to go that way. Of course they don't. You could be like impartial, like a proper media, but they've got to back him, or at least they've got to give the notion that he's better than Van Bronckhorst, because they can't afford them to be any worse.
Well, of course.
You know, so they tag on the fact that he was Gerrard's, the brains behind the whole thing. That's their new papering over the cracks this year. I mean, it's the equivalent of Gavin Strachan coming back and managing us. We wouldn't tolerate it. You know,
can you imagine Gavin Strachan and his iPad have both signed 5-year contracts?
You would go mental, right? But the guy's like a used car salesman, and that Park Life one, I mean, that's hilarious. I was going to mention that as well. I mean, I genuinely laughed out loud at that. And that, you say that guy's put out some crackers, and that one's right up there. I don't think they can afford to get rid of Beale. I didn't think they could afford to get rid of Van Bronckhorst. Surely they can't do it again. And who else would take that job? They know they're downsizing. They know they're losing a ton of players. They might free up a bit of a wage bill to bring some in. But I seen their squad list for us last week, and they had about 15 players on it more than we did. So they've got a really bloated squad of absolute garbage. Loving it. you know, I'm looking forward. I don't know if they'll quite be able to win the pre-season cup this year, because I don't even think they think they're good enough.
I think the next 3 years they're going to be less of a challenge than they are right now.
I agree with that.
I think they're going to recede, because
there's more chance
penny,
of the ones below them catching them than them catching us.
Every penny that was there, and even pennies that weren't there, were spent on stopping Celtic making 10. Everything was put in the pot for that one season, and they probably didn't expect for Celtic to come back the season after and win the title. They probably thought that what they put into that one season would be enough to see them through for 2, maybe 3 seasons.
Totally.
But everything has gone on that one season to stop us getting the 10. And we might actually go on a run now, which might see us getting the 10, because I think they're going to go backwards. I think their squad, as you see it right now, next season, they're not going to be as strong as they are now, and the season after probably less so. And if we keep racking up the titles and we get Champions League on a semi-regular basis, it's yet another chance, probably the 3rd or 4th time in the last 20 years, we might have a chance to really kick on and go clear here. And
Terry, there's something really sweet about this as well, pal, because see what really pisses me off? This has been like, we know what they chucked at the 10, right? To stop the 10, I should say, was obviously money they couldn't have had, right? Nobody in the media wanted to report that. Everyone's like, oh, well, they must just have funds, they must just have it. That's how it was dressed up to you. No one is questioning how a team, they got to Europa League final, right? They sold players for upwards of £25 million. They then qualified for the Champions League, and they don't have a pot to piss in, and no one goes, where did that money go? Oh, it was paying back loans. What loans? You never mentioned this at the time. Now it's all like a matter of fact that they obviously had to pay back investors. That's not how it was getting positioned at all in the MSM. This was not how it was at all. It was, they've now built up a successful sort of business model that was going to carry them forward. Actually, I think that you're absolutely right in what you say, Terry. They're going backwards. And Celtic right now, if we look back at our situation, pal, we're in... the opposites are unbelievable comparing our situation to theirs. We're about to earn another Champions League crust. Now, I don't know if ours was bumped up a wee bit because of some sort of coefficient loyalty thing that might have came to an end, but we'll still get upwards, I think, of 20, 25 million this summer just for being Champions League participants. That's not to say if we want to sell any of our key assets at any point in time, that's another 15 million plus. That's not to say a wee KT or a wee Jeremy Frimpong to Man United, I'm hearing now as well, ain't going to be bringing us in upwards of 5 to 15 million pounds as well. Everywhere we turn, we've seen a treasure chest. Everywhere they turn, they're seeing a slamming door.
Well, see, the bit that irked me about Beale's comments during the week around the team spending the most money was my memories as a sort of teenage boy into my 20s was you've 2 clubs in Glasgow, probably relatively similar income in terms of gate receipts, all that kind of thing, yet one was able to just go out and get any player, virtually any player they wanted, and we were in a totally different market. And I went through 15 years or 20 years of wondering how that could happen and why that was the case, and why is my club not spending the same money as that club. Now, we obviously know, looking back, we know why they were doing it, because they did what they did during the 10 season. They spent money that they didn't had, or they cheated and found ways to bring in players that they couldn't possibly ever have been able to afford.
Then try and keep up with O'Neill, right?
Yeah, but so Mickey Beale's comments during the week, I'm sort of sitting just going like that, as in you reap what you sow, you guys. You spent money for 15, 20 years, money that you didn't have, money that you should have been paying for your taxes and all that kind of stuff. And now you've got the neck on, you've got the cheek, the brass neck to turn around and talk about another team spending more money than your team are spending. Take a good fuck to yourself, Mickey Beale, is all I have to say.
It's a bit naughty, that, Liam. See, when you think about it like that, it is a wee bit rich going, we're not lucky like that. When the beauty of where Celtic find themselves right now. And of course, the next debate will be, come the summer, are we actually going to have the courage of our convictions to spend said funds wisely and push on to that next level, or are we just going to stay better than Rangers? That's a different argument. But the one thing is, that debate will be getting had because we're going to be questioning where we're spending our well-earned dollars, our well-earned cash that we've earned either by being very, very good in the transfer market or prize money for entering the Champions League, for winning trophies, for getting better kit deals, for having a larger fan base that buys more season tickets.
Did you say fourth kit deals there?
No, I never said fourth. No. I'm not the biggest fan of that idea. But ours is all based on solid foundations. We know where our money's came from. We know how we're in this space, right? Now, to ever call that lucky, I think is a bit cheeky, and that does kind of piss you off a wee bit. And again, it's just naivety on his part, or just him bumping his gums trying to save face for himself yet again.
Right, so I always imagined if he came back from the dead, right, one of the things would be a memory. So you wouldn't remember, being, if they spend a £5, we'll spend a £10. All that sort of stuff is all embedded in our history. It's there for everybody to see. So for them to come on and gaslight us and pretend it's like Stephen Gerrard's first press conference, we know there's a history of refereeing decisions going against Rangers. Somebody posted something through the week about Wally Collum refereeing Rangers, that the last time Rangers got a penalty against them, it was an 8-point dossier forward towards the SFA on referees, like complaints against the referee.
You didn't referee them for over 6 months.
That's exactly. And he's given, 3 penalties this year for them, all at Ibrox.
And yesterday's looking as funny as half of them of the rest.
Back into the us versus them. I think it's just so different. If you look at us as film franchises, I think we're Star Wars. I think we keep regenerating, right? We've talked about this before, my young Padawans, right? We've talked about this before. We're the Star Wars franchise, I think. We keep regenerating. There's good, new and interesting ways. Adidas is getting right in there. They like to bring out toys and plenty of gear and all that. They're certainly thinking it's Star Wars. And so we keep, we're Jedis. We keep regenerating different ways and getting better and better. They're Jaws, right? They're 55 came. They're the Jaws franchise. Big movie, right? Came out with a big splash, but it was during COVID, right? Everybody's in fear, everybody's panicking, nobody's mind's just on the football, and a big shark just comes out and snatches the title away from us, right? But the incarnation there and now, they're Jaws 5. They're at Jaws 5, the shittiest film ever made in the history of films. That's where they've got to. There's no imagination. They just keep trying to do the same thing, the same way, with big shark, with big teeth. And
it'd be a bit like Titanic too. Do you know what I mean? Guess what happens? The boat sinks, Richie.
Oh, it's madness. That's a great analogy. I agree with everybody here, and I don't want to be a sycophant about it, but I mean, I grew up through the 90s. I remember their, £5 for every 10 crap, and the Tory Ange flow, what was that, 12 million, just to get it up us, so I've got no sympathy for them, but I think it's going to be worse for them than it was for us in the 90s. We had a way out. Football landscape's changed now. Do they have a way out? I'm with Terry. I see them just going backwards, and it's up to us whether we can keep Ange interested in knocking out the league every year so we have a real crack at Europe. I think that's the big question we're going to have to ask, because we're going to smash this league every year.
Terry, that's got to be Ange's focus now, isn't it? I mean, he knows he's got them in a vice right now, I think, domestic. He's got the league in a vice. I think teams are terrified of playing Celtic. They don't know how to deal with them. St Mirren, I'm talking up at the start of the show saying, they put 2 banks of 5 after getting an early goal, and that looks the closest way to sort of stop Celtic. I mean, that's the closest way you've got. It's stopping us. And do you know what I mean? That tells you, the rest of the team's living in fear of this side. So it's all about the next step, isn't it? And that's what's going to be so exciting about the next sort of chapter in Ange's journey, because he's committed. He's told us publicly he's here for the long haul. You'll be surprised how long I'm here for, mate. When he's saying stuff like that, that should be the sort of content that we are, licking our lips at, proverbially. But
Why do you think he came out and said that? Because there was no need for the manager to do that.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because he heard all the talk before that. He kept his counsel, and he knew he was going to deliver the trophy and then give the worst news possible that all the opposing fans don't want to hear. That was his smoking gun. I'm going to commit publicly to Celtic long term. That's why he kept stewing. He never went in the tit for tats. Never. Why are you asking me that, mate? I don't talk about other teams. I don't talk about other managers. He seemed exasperated by it. He was waiting to do his sort of bravado once the trophy's in the cabinet. That's when I'll talk. And the delivery that he decided to go by was the scariest of them all. I'm here for the long haul. That sends shivers up the spines of all our rival teams, not just them.
I think it's very difficult for him now, though, if he does leg it, because that's going to be played back over and over again. The moment where he said, I'm here for the long haul kind of thing. But I've said it before. I think Mickey Beale has been a positive for Celtic because he has just reignited Ange and put this desire in this man to put that club to bed once and for all. And I think Ange's sights will be firmly positioned on this game next Saturday to get us into the last four of the Scottish Cup and that treble, that thing that we as Celtic fans have rightly or wrongly become accustomed to over the last 5 seasons. Trebles aren't easy, and
that's the problem. They've come with this added pressure now because there's an expectancy of them.
That's how far we've come. I mean, look back over the history of football in Scotland. How many trebles have there been done? And Celtic fans are now almost sitting expecting a treble every single season just because we've had unprecedented success over the last 5 or 6 years. I think we're probably going back into that territory again where I think Rangers are going to regress. I think Celtic are going to kick on. And we could be on the cusp of another long series of Celtic winning titles, Celtic winning trophies, Celtic winning trebles. I think that's what's going to happen. In terms of the one bit that we're probably not used to, and you and I touch on it so many times, is are we going to tool up to take on something that we haven't conquered, something that we haven't made progress on in the last 20, 30 years, something that we should have within our compass that we haven't tapped into, is do we kick on and try to do something in Europe?
Well, this is it. And it'll be the $1 million question that I know we'll be discussing at length in the summer. But of course it's on the horizon even now, because you can't help but feel, and it's not being green-tinted specs, and you can't help but feel the wee kind of looks done. Do you know what I mean, Liam? It's going to take a bizarre set of circumstances, an extraordinary set of circumstances for us to blow this league title. And that would mean them being perfect as well, which I don't see. That then leads you to looking ahead, like Terry just did there at Scottish Cup semi-finals, even though we've got a massive game on Wednesday at home to Hearts. But you can't help it right now because we're in such a good space. We're playing football the right way and we're collecting points. Like, I mean, this could be a record league. Could it be? Am I right in thinking it could be the record league points haul if we keep going the way we are right now? It could be record goals. Did I see a stat that they were saying we reached 250 goals under Ange now today? 250 in under 100 games. What are we watching? Do you know what I mean? And that's why what Terry's saying, it brings it into sharper focus, because you start going, that's all well and good, and obviously we're buzzing with it, we're delighted with it. But can we convert that form? Can we transfer that sort of form into that bigger stage? Can we just get all our ducks in a row, and can we commit to being able to bring that form into the higher level, into the top tier, playing in the Champions League, converting the chances that you're afforded by having a squad of depth of a real top quality level? Because the money's there for these tools. It'll just come down to whether we buy into this. And I don't know. For me, if you're looking at it, even as from a business perspective, you'd be going, the footballing operation under Ange, it's all there. If you're ever going to go, do you know what? Let's open the reserves here. You would do it for Postecoglou's side, because they're already halfway there, I think, to being a side that could compete in Europe. And I also think you've got right now an attractive football club and team and manager that young, shit-hot players that maybe can't get into their teams at top 5 clubs like a Jota or whatever. But I think there's more Jotas out there that will go in that 6-7 million bracket, go, I want to play in that team. I want to play for him. I'll develop there and I'll win trophies and I'll compete in the best club competition in the world, the Champions League.
I think when you're a player, football is so much different as a player when you play on a good team. It's so much easier. Like, it's not for paying fives and stuff like that, but we're on a good team that's much better than the other team, and the buzz wasn't about. Your game's much more enjoyable. And I think Ange offers that. He's got a system, I think, that shapes itself around players that want to perform, that are brave, that want to have an imagination, be creative with the football, drive forward, always being positive, finding space. And I think you can sell that. But just like you sell it, I think you can build a football philosophy around that. I think that's what Ange talks about when he talks about a lot of people don't know what I'm building right now or what this part is actually, what I'm actually doing here. And you see it, yeah, he's building a football philosophy. And I think we just happen to be that conduit between him and how he gets that philosophy out. And I think as a long-term project, what he's bought into and what he's getting players to buy into is that I'm going to teach you something that's bigger than that. We're going to be playing like, what the Dutch, like, he's done that. I think he's got an opportunity to develop something like, like the way Cruyff did at Barcelona, or Puskas did at Real Madrid. And, I've talked about this before. He used to give him a ride to football at Melbourne Victory, where they sat in the car, and Puskas could speak Greek because he was one of the Greek.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that part of it is seeped into Ange's football management DNA. He just doesn't want to leave with a bunch of trophies. I think he got pissed at Giacomakis, as maybe what Terry was saying earlier. Like he doesn't want individual players. He wants part of a team. So, wanting recognition for being a highest goal scorer, that probably doesn't enter into Ange's radar because he's not basing his philosophy in that. It's like Tony Ralston sitting on the bench is just as important as being the highest goal scorer. He sees the same as like it's all working towards one thing. And those players that get that are the ones that are going to stay in. And you can sort of see it. You can see with the ones who have left right now. Yeah, you can see that the personality defects,
Definitely.
The stuff. And I think that's what we have to look forward to. We got to look forward to.
I think so.
And I think players will come knowing that you can develop in that system. You get to play on the attack. You can build up your light reel. For starters, playing a globetrotter type football. Long may it continue. I love watching that stuff.
Definitely, Richie. The future is exciting, isn't it?
It definitely is. No, I've heard Ange saying that before, that he wants to play a brand of football that the guys enjoy playing, like you did the game that you fell in love with when you were a kid playing. You were always on the front foot, you were always attacking, you were always looking to score goals, and he's managed to rig a system that fits the professional game. And I agree. I think it's going to be a great adventure for young players to come through and be under his guidance. He said if he wasn't a football manager, he'd be a teacher, and that's why I don't think he's going to go to a big club. I don't think he needs to. I don't think going by what I get from him, he doesn't want a guy that considers himself a finished article. He wants people to teach and people to improve. And I think we're the perfect club for him. And as long as we keep backing him, if there is a stage 2, if it is a 10 million, 15 million pound players, as long as we back him, I think for Europe, he's not going anywhere. He said very early in his tenure as well, he's here until we don't want him anymore. I don't know about you. I don't see that happening anytime soon. We've just got to keep on top of the board, make sure it's not them that, you know, that turn on him or cost us. Yeah. So, you know, I don't see him going anywhere. We're perfect for him. Everything about his background and his beliefs are mirrored in everything Celtic stands for. So why would he want to go anywhere?
I agree with all that. Terry, you got any final word for us before we call it a day today, mate?
Nah, just last word from me, boss. You're really, really excited about the next 7 days in Celtic. Apart from all the stuff that's going on in the Bhoycie Bus during the week, we also have Hearts during the week at home. And then that game next weekend is just, I don't know, I'm maybe over egging it a wee bit, but I'm really, really excited for that one, because as far as I can see, that's all that's left to be decided this season is the Scottish Cup. And what an excellent draw. I know whenever the draw came out, a lot of Celtic fans were hoping home draw against one of the lesser teams. I actually embrace the game that we've got. Tynecastle and Hearts in the Scottish Cup quarter-final it's just a great tie, and it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be one of those ones where you turn up and you think, you know, we're just going to steamroller this. This is going to be an end-to-end. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be decisions. This is going to be close calls. This is going to be a cracker of a cup tie, and I just hope you and I are sitting here roughly around this time next Saturday, and Celtic's name is in the draw for the last four. But no, exciting week. Plenty on the bus, Russell. What have we got coming up on the bus during the week for the guys?
Loads on the bus, Terry. Loads on the bus. We'll do a wee bus stop, I think, maybe tonight. I've not done one of them in a wee while.
Nice one.
Heard we're being referred to as Boise's Nuggets recently, so you know I've got an interesting take on a nugget saying that. And then obviously we'll be doing the Monday Club tomorrow with Jonathan. Sudden death, Terry. I don't know if you've been keeping up the scores. I'm 12-8 ahead of Jonathan now. He's fucking getting left in the dust, big man. So I will be doing the Monday Club. Tuesday, I don't know if we've got anything on Tuesday. Maybe come up with something. But Wednesday, definitely, if you're about, we'll be doing P.M.P. We'll make that a wee sort of shorter one because it's a midweek show. So we'll probably just do that, me and you, Terry, to be honest. And then we've got the TNF, the Open Forum on Thursdays. As always, we'll have 4-man team for that. Friday's Bustalgia. Phil's kept under wraps, but he says he's got exciting plans for the next few weeks for that. So Liam will be on that with Phil. Looking forward to that immensely. And just the bus just keeps rolling on. Thanks to everyone in the chat. There's been over 200 the whole time. Remember to smash that like button, hit subscribe, like my hair, all the usual stuff. We'll leave you with the words of Chris Sutton. What a time to be a Celtic fan.
I mean, you've all that stuff at the start. You know, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.